Sit right there. Good. Streaming. Yeah, it looks like it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let Your Words Count. This is episode 2. My name is Ethan Merriweather. I'm here with Gary Gant. And another word for our minds for thinking and meditating on. Another word that I've been thinking about is discipline. I think discipline is a very, very interesting word um, that we use. Actually, I would say it's a very important word. And I think sometimes we don't realize it's like one of those hidden things that's within us, built in within us, that we don't know that we should be operating with all the time, 24/7. Um, it's funny that before we started, Gary was looking at a couple of definitions. He said it's quite a few. Gary, you feel like um, reading a few of them?
Sure. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. First one is training to act in accordance with rules. A couple of them that I'll probably skip is I know outside of the way we were kind of thinking about the word. Like one of them is like to discipline a child or to discipline somebody like in the military, so a form of punishment. So we'll skip over those. It's not really the focus or the aspect of the word we're looking at today. So training to act in accordance with the rules. There is also the rigor or training effect of experience or adversity. There is behavior in accord with rules of conduct, behavior and order maintained by training and control, and a set or a system of rules or regulations. And then there's, kind of goes into like the different noun and verb uses of it. But I think the one that sticks out to me is the rigor or training effective experience in adversity, and then an activity, exercise, or regimen that develops or improves a skill under the noun version of it. So having that regimen, having that activity or plan or routine that you hold to in order to gain or improve a skill, right? Especially like if you have a gap between where you stand right now with something. Let's say I want to be a better fisherman. I don't just go out there and expect to be a pro on day one. It's a discipline. It's going out on a regular basis, finding out what's the best time to go, having the right equipment, and then developing a technique that I might use again and again to become a good fisherman. It's not something that happens overnight. So the gap between where you are right now and where you're trying to get to is usually something you can close that gap with discipline, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking about, that regimen that that helps us with a system, a systematic approach of how to enhance a skill,
Mm-hmm.
harness a skill or whatnot. And and I think from a day to day basis, by those definitions, did we ever get a chance? Did you get a chance to look up the etymology? I
I did
didn't.
not. I did not know. Not before.
If you could look that up real quick, I
Sure.
think I wanted to. My bad, but I wanted to see the etymology of it because I think it's very important for us to understand like the origins of how it came to be. Because you've already shouted out about maybe seven or so different meanings of the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the issues that I find with a lot of times our language,
Mm-hmm.
like English language, can be very very hard, and because you have multiple meanings and multiple um, definitions and meanings for one word, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have other, ethnicities will come to the country and they use a word, but they get confused because there's so many
Sure.
overlapping meanings. Um, so you said something very interesting. You said you wanted to avoid the disciplinary um, uh, responses, like in the military or whatnot, for correcting a type of behavior or whatnot. And I think it's very interesting that you want to avoid it, but I kind of want to talk about it a
Oh,
little
we
bit.
can. That's fine. I didn't know if that was outside the scope.
No, no, I think it's good because this is the reason why I say it. Let your words count is so important because what do you want to be in the process of someone else's understanding of that word? You know what I'm saying? So if someone, because another word for discipline is probably a standardization, maybe, right? Some in some type of way,
Sure.
right?
For
So
sure.
if a person is thinking about a standardization or a systematic way of thinking of keeping consistency or whatnot, and then they come around a person that calls it disciplinary actions, right? Then that's a negative look, an approach to a word that is really a decent word to help a person to be developed. Like
Gotcha.
this, and that's the reason why I was saying like discipline is like one of those things that we don't necessarily think about from the day to day basis, but you actually operate it in some way. Everyone in some type of way have some type of discipline
Sure.
in what they do.
Sure.
We just don't know what that is until you hear that word, and then you start really meditating and thinking about that word, and once you start meditating and thinking about that word, you see how much you lack discipline in what you thought you were doing well. You know,
That's a
did
good
that make
point.
sense?
It does. It
Yeah,
does. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good point. And before I jump into the etymology too, just on my voice is going a little bit from work we were doing earlier. But when you mention, so bringing in that aspect of correction,
Hmm.
and you said already right that when you have to receive disciplinary action, people don't look at that as a positive thing. It's
Right.
a negative thing, right? I've done something wrong, and some form of superior or authority acts to correct me for what I did wrong, right? So that negative kind of disciplinary action can be avoided by the positive form of discipline,
Mm.
right? If I develop a regimen or a routine, if I have a set of guidelines or rules that I know I'm supposed to operate within or a process I'm supposed to follow, discipline to that routine, that process, those rules in a positive way, me taking on the positive aspect of discipline in terms of training or a dedication to a process, whatever, adhering to a process or to a set of rules, that positive form of discipline within myself can avoid the negative form of discipline coming from somebody else,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Very good.
And in the
Interesting.
etymology, it says that I guess it's looking like it's I'm looking at a chart, kind of a combination from the Old French and the English. No, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, no, I'm looking at it the wrong way. The Latin is the scopus, and disciplina, which is instruction or knowledge, but then it
Mm.
goes into the Old French and the English form of discipline. And this looks like it's just mortification by scourging oneself. So again,
Wow.
kind of a blend of what we just talked about, right? That
Interesting.
negative punishment to yourself in the form of discipline or correction in order to have that discipline within yourself to know I'm walking within these rules, these guidelines, or whatever. So
Wow.
just a lot of different ways you could take it, right? But that's why we kind of have words like this and a discussion like this because there's a lot of different aspects to it that we need to focus on.
You know, I was just thinking about like what you just saying, like flogging or whatnot. So
Right.
there's a lot of we were bringing this up earlier about like discipleship, right?
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Very
when you're
important.
talking about like biblically, you look at Jesus and his disciples. You
Yes.
know that's a discipline. What were they disciplining? What was Jesus disciplining his friends
Absolutely.
to understand? You know, did he flog them? No. I think what was he at time at times as a teacher, they called him master, right? Teacher.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that that discipline that Jesus was trying to share with them and get them to understand with that knowledge, that's a part of the etymology of the
Yes.
word.
Yes.
So when you think about discipline, there is an understanding, there's an instruction, and there's a discipline that falls within the confines of the definition itself.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the reason why I'm saying like once I realized discipline hits me, I can take it as a negative thing or a positive thing, like you
Absolutely.
said, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think that there's always growth once you realize you're lacking a little bit of discipline,
Absolutely.
because I think we
An,
all
an opportunity for growth.
beautiful.
Yep. It won't be
Beautiful.
automatic. You have to recognize it and take advantage of that lesson being there and jump into it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think see that's the key is like when you think about discipline, I think about maturity. Like discipline is the avenue or the it is the it is the segue or the
Interesting.
to get you to the next level,
Absolutely.
right?
Let's see that.
But what you said something earlier was I thought was pretty good was if I get to a certain mode, would I get complacent within that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so what is the next thing to build
We were
off
talking
my?
about that off camera. Yep. You're right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Off camera, right? But what you said, are, are we honest enough to be able to admit that? And that's the thing, and that's the reason why I want to let these words count. Like within my mind is Ethan Merriweather, you're lacking discipline in this area. Okay, if I'm not lacking discipline in this area, what is the steps to take in order for me? And I don't want to go around and flog myself, and I don't want to go around and beat myself because and feel the
Right.
pain of something
Right.
in order for me to achieve a certain level of understanding, instruction, or
For sure.
whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think it's a very interesting word that I would like to process a little bit more because like once again you hear discipline, we need to be disciplined, we need to discipline. I had a very good friend that I worked at the plant, and and he was a supervisor and I was a QE at the time, a quality engineer at the time, and that's all he drove in his workers was discipline, you know what I mean? And when they understood the his mind, because he was like a teacher,
Sure.
and when you understand what his goals were and what he was trying to teach,
Very important.
then the the production line actually operated like a well-oiled machine.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was the discipline is reaching a goal, right? No. The discipline is the tool
Yes.
to get you to the goal that you're looking for,
Agreed.
right?
Agreed.
But you got to ask the question, what's that goal? How do you discipline yourself? The discipline is the tool that you use to get to where you need to go. But if you don't know where you need to go, how can you be disciplined?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely right.
I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense or
It
whatnot.
does. It does. I think it does. And it's so a couple of things that you mentioned too. Now we've been friends, man, dude,
Man.
coming up to 25 years. We've been hanging
Yeah.
tough.
Oh yeah.
So we've talked before about how you and I like maybe like through high school, right?
Hmm.
And being appreciative of people we've had in our lives, like sports coaches,
Yes.
instructors in various things, the pastor we came up under, having sometimes some form of, I'm not going to call it harsh discipline, but somebody that's behind you that pushes you.
Hmm.
Because if it hadn't been for one, and again, a couple of good things, a couple of great things you mentioned, Jesus with his disciples knew that he loved them. His disciples knew that he wanted what was best for them.
Hmm.
So it became easy for them, and this is what I think is,
Mm.
is an important factor when you talk about discipleship. There has to be trust there
Yes.
because you're trusting
Mm.
that instructor is maybe sometimes being hard on you or maybe sometimes pressing you because they for one love you, want what's best for you, want you to succeed in the progress, and you trust that this person has the tools to help you get there. This person is going to push you to help you recognize your limits aren't what you think they are,
Yeah.
to help you realize your true
Interesting.
potential and to push you past whatever limits you perceive yourself having. They might see the potential in you to do more and they'll push you, and you become thankful in time, again, knowing that there's a goal out there. Once you reach
Mm.
that goal, after that discipleship slash discipline from a mentor, you're appreciative of it looking back because you realize, I didn't realize I could have gone this far. I didn't realize I had this potential within me, but because of this teacher and this person taking me under their wing as a disciple, I've now got to that point. Last thing I'm going to say on this, very, very important. Again, it's one aspect of that discipleship working is the trust factor
Yes.
between you and a mentor. The other part of it that you already mentioned is very, very important is what is the goal?
Mm-hmm.
If I trust somebody or embrace somebody as a teacher, master, mentor, whatever, and their goals for me are not what my goals for myself should be or would be, then you got to really think, is this the person that I want to
Nice.
have as my teacher, mentor, / whatever? Is this person going to get me to the goal that I feel is where I need to be going versus them taking me to be something that they want me to be, right?
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, you was good. You kept on
I don't
going.
have anything else, bro.
No. I think that's good. I think that what you're saying is spot on. Is about the trust.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is do I trust that the person? Because like I said, when you talk about mentorship and you have teachers, coaches, and different things that's
right.
been in your life, if that person has the best outlook for your future or
Right.
whatnot, that will be the key for you to immediately recognize.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I didn't realize. I think even right now, if I'm honest, I didn't realize how much discipline I lack in many things.
Sure.
But
all of us.
yeah,
It's
all of
learned,
us.
right?
Yeah.
It's not natural in any of us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, man. So see, that's kind of that's that nuance that I want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So we hear about discipline all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what does it really look like? Because we hear stories of like Kobe Bryant waking up at 5:30, going out hitting the gym, and cats would go to the gym at 8:30, and he's like, I'm already been here for 3 hours,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And then by the time they leave, he's still staying there for two extra hours, you know what I'm saying, shooting. When does a discipline actually become a a um, a potential or possible detrimental effect in someone's life? Is it a such thing where discipline can actually cause harm? And that's what we want to talk to about, letting our words count also. So we looked at the etymology of it. We see that there's maybe 6 different plus definitions. We broke it down from a negative impact from somebody else toward an individual,
Right.
with disciplinary actions and different things like that based off of someone's actions.
Sure.
Because of someone's choices, someone else in a position had to place a disciplinary action on another person.
Right.
So we talk about instructions. We talk about from a master and teacher point of view, right? Discipline. We talk about from the trust point of view. But what if we look at it from the disciplinary of oneself to a part that is harmful to an individual? We're talking about flogging. Man, we ain't talking about flogging because sometimes when you from a religious, we can be damaging, right? From a religious disciplinary, there's many cultures out there that do many things for the sake of their religion alone. But we're talking about from a person that causes harm. I guess that will be a form of religion if they look within themselves so much as a belief mechanism that it actually becomes harmful.
Absolutely.
Have we seen that before?
Definitely so, right?
That was
I mean, and maybe not to the extent of flogging.
Yeah.
It's not that far from it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you asked a perfect question. At what point does it become? I think at the point where it becomes harmful, you have to stop and ask yourself, am I still getting anything out of this?
Ooh, very good.
Because some people may react. I'm sure a lot of people. We've seen this in history. We've seen this in movies. A person gets whipped, gets beaten, gets flogged, whatever, as a disciplinary form or as a form of disciplinary action. They'll correct their behaviors because that pain and the reminder of that pain is enough to say, I don't want to do again what led to that punishment.
Yeah.
The question is, can you discipline yourself to learn that before it gets to the point of you taking on that kind of harm? And I think that when you look at when does it become too much, you have to recognize that the enemy or the contrast of discipline is complacency and comfort, right? You have to ask that question about diminishing returns.
Wow.
Because I think there's an aspect of, you mentioned Kobe, when you first start playing basketball, and I don't know how young he was when he started, middle school, elementary school, whatever. There was a discipline he had to get himself up to the level that he was. So you put yourself through some discomfort to get to I'm top of my field, I'm upper echelon, I'm number one. Now I stop practicing. Then you fall off.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a discipline to get you to a point, and then there's a discipline to maintain.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? To make sure that you keep that regimen, to make sure you keep that discipline, that behavior, that whatever up, so that you can maintain whatever level you have. Because if you discipline up to a certain point and then stop, the fall off always happens, right? So comfort and complacency, it's useful as long you know it's in effect when you're not comfortable, and if you find yourself getting complacent, it's the time for discipline. But you have to be the one to say, do I need to take on pain in order to learn that lesson, or can I employ self-discipline before it gets to the point of me having to be harmed in order to learn the lesson?
Wow, that's pretty good, man. It's actually kind of scary in a way if you think about it, because we all can be at that point when it comes to discipline, right?
Absolutely.
You know, while you were talking, I was thinking about, and we might have already said this a few minutes ago, but I was just thinking about like when you reach a certain level, you know, and okay, this is kind of what I was thinking. When you're disciplining yourself, you say you're disciplining yourself with the pain and the rigorous repetitions in order to attain what a goal that you would like to see. What if you never see that?
Interesting.
What if you put forth a goal that is not even achievable?
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Like, your discipline, and would discipline still be a valuable tool in that regard? You know what I'm saying? So is that when discipline actually becomes a detriment instead of a benefit?
So can we pull it back to our roots in church and ministry?
All right.
Right? So what is the biggest question that's always asked in church, and the brace that people wear, what would Jesus do? When we have in our minds that the thing this man accomplished, the thing that Jesus accomplished, is something that he alone was able to do, does it give people that excuse of, I'll never get to that level, I'm not going to try? Right? Versus seeing him in the light of, hey, I'm showing you what is possible as a human connected to the Creator.
Yeah.
Follow me and do what I do.
Yes.
If I see his actions, his ways, his mentality, his thought processes as being out of reach or something that's not attainable for me, at what point am I going to keep disciplining myself, trying to get to something that I feel is not possible?
Wow.
Versus the mindset of somebody who says, he showed me what's possible in me to do, and I'm going to try my best to keep disciplining and keep getting to that point, right?
Yeah,
so it's deep.
That is real deep. And what's so awesome about what you just said right there is that's not taken away from anybody.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing.
Question
it's like,
to ask yourself.
That's a question, and only you, if you're honest enough, only you can answer that question. That's one thing I love about.
I'm not expecting to walk on water anytime soon. I want to love like he did.
Yeah. So see, that's another conversation because. See, you got me thinking. So I'm not. It didn't freeze, y'all. Right. So I was just thinking about. So I was just thinking about, like, if you really think about what this man achieved, right? And it's actually a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Where his discipline was really loving your neighbor as yourself. Sure. I think, like, a lot of times we have these far off goals that's I'm not going to say they're not attainable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you know, we would say we don't walk on water, or I'm not trying to walk on water anytime soon. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, there's some people that actually put that as one of their goals.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's my goal is to love my neighbor as
Absolutely.
myself.
You're
I think
absolutely
that's
right,
the,
bro.
I think those are realistic. And I'm not saying that walking on water is
Sure, I
not
understand.
realistic.
I understand.
What I'm saying is, I can work with loving my neighbor as
Absolutely.
myself.
Absolutely.
If I discipline myself with the smallest aspect, you know what I'm saying, then maybe
Right.
further down the line, you know, those bigger things would be attainable.
Perfect.
And guess what? And if it doesn't, I mean,
Right.
it's not like it's not like, okay, to me, let's say if I did walk on water.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if, and this is a side note from discipline. But let's say if I did, oh no, actually it won't. What if I discipline myself
Hmm.
to a point where I'm able to walk on water?
So,
I was going to say that really does nothing for anybody else but myself, and make myself look good in the eyes of man in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? At least if I'm honest, and if anybody want to say anything online or chat about it, you know, if you disagree with it or have a comment, I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
But what
For
was you
sure.
about to say, bro?
No, it's just it's a good point. Like if it's us walking on water, what's the point? Are we going to say anything better than what Jesus already did? For him, it wasn't a matter
That's so
of, you know
true.
what I'm saying? Because
Very good.
for him,
Yes.
him walking on water called attention to his words, his ministry, whatever,
Yes.
whatever, right? What benefit would it be? A question we always ask ourselves: what benefit would it be if I did? But then it also comes into, was him walking on water a matter of discipline or was it something else? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because then it's like, was it a matter of him having to build up faith, connection with God, mastery over whatever of this world versus something that was inherent and just in him? We don't see him doing these things prior to 30 years old
Yeah.
that we know of,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it's just that's I don't have an answer to that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
that's one of the things you got to question in talking about him, right?
That's very good, man. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today was
Yeah.
that discipline. Just a note for us to ponder and think about.
Leaving with a lot to think about.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, it's you know, after this video, I think I have to thinking about a couple of things, you know, in all honesty, within myself, you know, especially when you talk about, the Lord Jesus and how he's able to please the Father and the things he did, but he didn't point us at those things to say, "Look at what I've done." You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Hey, look
right.
at me. He did.
Facts.
You will not see this man ever say anything about, look at what I have done.
Don't
You-
tell anybody what
Don't.
you've seen.
That is the total opposite,
That's
isn't
actually
it?
absolutely
Go
right.
your way and sin no more.
Absolutely right.
Don't tell no one what you have
That's
seen.
right.
You know, I think that that's very important. But on the flip side, we see that other people's disciplines are are a gaining of self preservation. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Disciplines of self preservation or showmanship.
Mm.
I almost look at that as showmanship sometimes.
It can get to that
It
point.
can get to
for
that
sure.
point. But once again, like if you look at discipline from a etymology standpoint, you know, is a very interesting point when you say where did this word originate from?
Mm.
And when you're able to break that down, you're like, okay, now that it's been transferred or integrated into our English language, are we properly using it,
Right.
or is it getting diluted?
Absolutely.
Are we is it has it become information for benefiting us, or is it misinformation that can cause us to be destroyed?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Or think of self servitude. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I think my closing point on that is it comes back to, if it's beneficial, it's going to be from somebody that's loving, helping you get to a goal that you have or that you want for yourself.
Yeah.
As long as it's beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
If you got somebody who's pushing you towards, if you're not thinking about what your goal is and accepting it from somebody else, stop.
Yeah.
Take a break, take a minute, really think about, is this, this person or this system or whatever has given me a goal and not one I've determined myself. is it the right one? And then is this the right person that's going to get me there, or the right process that's going to get me there if you're doing it for yourself? But it just has to be a matter of I have to see something that I'm going for, and this is the path for me to get to it. Right?
That's awesome, man.
So,
Well, everyone, this is Let Your Words Count. Another good episode, episode 2.
absolutely.
The word was discipline. Check it out sometime. Read it. Look at the etymology. Break it down. Think about it. Meditate on it.
Leave your thoughts in the comments.
Leave your thoughts in the comments. And this is Ethan Merriweather signing out with
Gary Gant.